From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy.
The vitamins.
Energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, not even October, and Florida State has lost twice to what amounts to a pair of Group of 5 schools practically. The nuclear option not on the table, but Corey has some drastic ideas, and I see a talent gap that, frankly, we all need to acknowledge. Wake Up Warchant is presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Get delicious, nutritious energy shots packed with vitamins and nutrients. And you can buy one, you can get one free, but there's a password, if you will. There's a promo code. Corey, you want to be the cool guy on the block and share it with everybody?
You know what? Absolutely. Vitamin Energy is not going to let you down, folks. They bring it every year, every month, every day, certainly every Saturday. Yeah. It's Warchant BOGO. BOGO.
All right. That's good. I goofed up earlier, so we just had to restart the show, and Corey's in a much better mood than he was 64 seconds ago. So I'm feeling buoyed by that. You should be buoyed by Vitamin Energy. Use it, vitaminenergy.com, shake it and take it. One little bottle, 260 milligrams, all natural caffeine, no sugar crash. Do it. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminoles sports source, FSU 1, 2 months, $1. I don't know, man, like assistant coaching hot boards. I guess we can sell you that stuff in the next 60 days probably.
Yeah.
Those will be fun to look at. I enjoyed those thoroughly. I also enjoy reading Corey Clark's work, Ira Schoffel's work, Michael Langston, Matt Lucero on the recruiting front, Gene Williams, Tom Lang, general things that have to do with Florida State, film breakdown, things of that nature. Do it. Subscribe. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Maybe if enough of you subscribe, we'll get Jeff to post a few times on the message boards. We'll see. Can't promise you anything. What I can promise, we're going to bring it today. Corey, how are you?
Crushing it, man. Having a great time. It's up here. Got to watch Brady play some baseball, which was nice, and got to enjoy a nice day after all the horrible weather we had.
My
and again,
goodness.
thoughts to everyone that is still dealt with that and is still dealing with that, especially. I mean, North Carolina, those scenes are
My gosh.
just awful, awful. So we're still thinking about all of you guys. That's much more important than what we're about to talk about for the next hour. But you kind of at some point in the third quarter on Saturday, you're like, yeah, man, it's not going to be a fun fall. It has not been a fun fall, and it's not going to get any better.
Florida State.
But we still have our help.
Yeah, we do. Florida State falls to SMU 42-16. Noles pushing 2 more points across the board this past weekend, though. So hashtag 1%, hashtag climb, hashtag growth. Florida State, though, drops to 1-4. Daunting task ahead of them with Clemson. And Corey, I've always kind of tried to have some sort of structure to the Monday show, but it's always tough because it's I don't really know where to go with things. One of my buddies called me on Sunday, and he's like, I don't know what you want me to tell you, man. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know why they don't look good. I don't know why we thought they looked good. I don't know. I thought they looked good, so that's why we thought they looked good in the preseason. But I'm like, I don't have any theories as to why they look as bad as they do. I have no solutions to offer you, and I know that I co-host a podcast, so you're like, well, what the hell are you going to do for the next 45 minutes to an hour, Aslan? But Corey, I don't want to defend DJ Uiagalelei. I also don't want to bury the poor kid. I want to go over 2 plays, Corey, that I think kind of, I don't know if they so much sum up what Florida State's problems are, but kind of underscore a through line that you and Ira talked about in the Warchant wrap. But let me start off second quarter, if you don't mind. 12:52 to go in the second quarter, Corey. It's 2nd and 7. This is after Jaylen Brown catches that nice RPO glance route, where there was a lot of success in the first half of that, right? The holding the mesh, faking the run, pulling it out. There was just posts, slants, all sorts of stuff over the middle that was open there. Jaylen Brown got pulled down on that shoestring tackle. If he doesn't get tackled, who knows what happens.
I know what happens. He scores a touchdown.
Yeah,
But
probably.
He got tackled as easily as anyone's ever been tackled by a shoestring. But what still first down. It would have been nice for him to pick his feet up and go score an 80-yard touchdown.
So after that, I forgot what happened on first down, but it's now 2nd and 7. Florida State's got trips to the field side, so they've got plenty of leverage onto the top of your screen if you're watching this. You're going from right to left if you want to imagine this. They did like a little play action pass, Corey, and it was a wide receiver screen. Kyle Morlock is one of those guys that's on the trips formation. All right, so he's got to get out there and block. So does Jalen Brown. They've got to block for Portier, who catches the ball. Morlock's assignment is Cale Sanders. Kyle Morlock, 6'6", 240. Cale Sanders is 5'10", 189 pounds. Morlock cannot hold the block for maybe more than one Mississippi. Not even a full Mississippi. Kentron's able to get 5 yards on the play on 2nd and 7, but it should have been a first down.
That sounds like one of the best plays of the night.
Well, here's the thing. If the block is made, it's a first down easily. Instead, it's a 5-yard gain because the block isn't made downfield. It's now 3rd and 2. Very next play, DJ throws the first interception of 3 on the night. He took a bad drop according to Tom Luganbill. He was too deep on his drop, had bad footwork, underthrows it. Really nice play by SMU's dude to kind of jump the underthrown ball. He dives and catches it, first interception of the night. All right, so we want to blame DJ because of the way that drive ends. But listen, if Jalen Brown doesn't get tackled, without much resistance, and if Kyle Morlock can make a block, that whole drive is different. Let's go to 2:42 left in the second quarter. This is that final drive almost of Florida State's they had. It's 2nd and goal on the 10-yard line. Toafili is going to go off tackle to the field side, or I'm sorry, the boundary side. So he didn't have a lot of leverage. Jeremiah Byers pulls and gets to the second level. He's got to get in the front of a linebacker, and if he does and holds his block and pushes that guy just a yard down the field or just is able to engage, Corey, Toafili is probably going to score. Jeremiah Byers is 6'4", 331 pounds. He gets to the second level. His assignment is 6 foot, 225-pound Kobe Wilson. Kobe Wilson absolutely jars and knocks Byers, stopping him in his tracks, and gets off the block, and he tackles Toafili for a 5-yard gain. If the block is made, it's a touchdown. It is now 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line, and we all know what happens there. You run 2 quarterback powers, and you get no points out of it unless you want to catch the safety because they were pinned so far back on their own goal line. Now on that subsequent play, on that 3rd down play, if Lawrence Toafili, sorry James B., plug your ears. I'm going to criticize Lawrence. I thought Lawrence played great on the whole though, Corey. Lawrence Toafili does not make a block as the lead blocker for DJ. If he just gets in a guy's way, man, DJ probably scores on that play. He does not. They call a timeout, 4th down. They run the same play. It looks even worse. All this to say, Corey, that I was a believer of, man, if 1 or 2 things goes their way in Dublin, they win that football game. I didn't necessarily feel that way against Boston College, but there was a couple plays that you're just like, man, if they could have got out of their way, maybe that night works out a little bit differently. Memphis, if Keziah Holmes can catch a screen pass, if you're not bumping into each other, returning punts, it just felt like there were a few plays. They were their own worst enemy, Corey. But these were 2 relatively inconsequential plays that nobody probably remembers from Saturday night, but was like a butterfly effect that affected the outcome of the game on Saturday and made them ultimately look really ill-prepared and just inadequate, to put it, I guess, lightly. Man, I no longer can believe in they're close, they might be clicking. Man, this is a bad football team, and everybody has a hand involved. If anything I can get across that 8-minute soliloquy or whatever it was, Corey, is that I said probably 6 different players' names in 2 different plays where things went wrong, and DJ wasn't like even the first guy on the list. And that what makes you feel really, I don't know, scared, for lack of a better word, for what remains with the schedule getting that much more difficult.
Yeah, man, there's plenty of blame to go around. The defense was not good, obviously. But when you have an offense this putrid and this comically bad, it's hard to. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot. And it's not going to be fixed by the end of this year. But he needs to start thinking about very, very quickly and very seriously how it gets fixed. Like, he was asked about it after the game. It was a long press conference. It's like 20-something minutes, which is crazy for a losing coach after a game like that. So kudos to him for sitting there and answering questions and talking as much as he did. But, he also gets paid $10 million, so I'm not going to pat him too hard on the back. But, he'll sit there and say, because he's asked about the quarterback, and we can talk more about the quarterback, but he's asked about a quarterback and a potential change, and if that would help. He's looking for a spark if he's thinking about the future, if he goes to a different quarterback, and he's like, I'm thinking about today, like how to be better today, how to be better tomorrow, how to win next week. And I just want to, almost, shake him by the shoulders and quit doing that. Like, this season is a loss. You failed so miserably between December 5th of last year and August 5th of this year that you can't fix it. There is no fix, and there's no way to make this even look competent. So you better start thinking about next year, and that means, again, you better figure out who's going to be your quarterback. You better figure out who's going to be your receivers coach, your offensive line coach, your tight ends coach, any coach, your running backs coach. Clearly, I'm not saying he's firing all of them or any of them. I don't know. But it has to all be on the table. And because when SMU is the weakest, least physical defense they've faced so far. They still had less than 300 yards. Still couldn't run it on them. Still couldn't do anything with them. 5 games into the season. Not 5 minutes or 5 quarters. 5 games into the season. And they're still averaging 15.2 points per game. They haven't scored more than 2 touchdowns in a game this year. Probably, I would guess, one of 5 schools in the country that could say that. Maybe less. I think Houston's only scored 5 all year. Florida State's scored 8 touchdowns in 5 games, which is just it's nothing that anybody has seen since PB or BB, before Bowden. However we wanted. I was going to say pre-Bowden, and then I went before Bowden, or Bobby, however you want to phrase BB. But before that, they did 73. It's the last time we've seen any offense and aptitude quite like this. It's embarrassing. Again, Saturday was more of the same, but you did hold out hope that, okay, they are absolutely 100% going to be the more physically talented team on offense against this group. Doesn't matter. Go hire their defense. Go hire their offensive coordinator. Go hire their O-line coach. Why can they run for 200 yards against you? Go hire their quarterback coach. Why does that kid who started 4 or 5 games look better than your guy that started over 50? Like, all that is illuminated and laid out to bear when you watch that. So we'll get through this season together. We're going to come in here every Monday, and I'm going to sound like this and be all angered. I'm a little sick too, so that doesn't help. Be all angered and sound all dejected and irked. But at the end of the day, man, this can't happen again next year, and it should be embarrassing. He's never going to say that. Maybe he would. I don't know.
He said embarrassing. Humiliating is the word he didn't use, but he was embarrassing a few times on Saturday.
But I hope he's the one that's embarrassed.
Yeah.
And not just because they lost by 26 points. Man, your offense is a joke. It is a flat-out joke. And so when people nobody could have – who would have – y'all, if we would have said, and we didn't see an offense that looked horrible, but if we saw offenses in practice that looked like this, that would hit, 7 completions in 2 hours, we would have told you guys that, and you wouldn't have believed us. There's no way if we'd have told y'all August 20th, look, through 5 games, they're going to be the worst Power 5 offense in the country, not named UCLA. They have the least amount of first downs of anybody not in the country not named UCLA. They average less points than Jameer Watkins. If we'd have told you guys all that, you wouldn't have believed us. How could anybody believe this? I wouldn't have believed this, because this guy is supposed to be a good coach and has proven to be a good coach. And he has guys that would play at other schools. I have a feeling some of the guys that played on Saturday night for Florida State probably could get some playing time for SMU. Their team scored 42, you scored 16 again, which, hey, like you said, you came in averaging 15, you scored 16, so you're starting to climb.
They gifted you the 2 points. They gifted you those 2 points. I mean, the punter.
Hey, Aslan, that doesn't matter. Quit bringing up stuff. Points are points.
Yeah, I just, you and Ira were talking about it, and Ira's like, the problem here is that, we're seeing special teams errors continually now. It wasn't just like the Memphis game wasn't a one-off. We're talking about holding penalties, negating really big field flipping punts. We're seeing face mask penalties on punt coverage that are causing you a possession. That, and listen, I'm mentioning your running back missing a block, your offensive lineman missing a block, your tight end missing a block, your wide receiver not being able to be elusive enough And then obviously your quarterback not making the right decisions. I mean, this is like a systemic problem at every level of this offense. And we'll get to the defense at a certain point, but I don't know really what is to belabor here, because I don't really know what your solutions are, but you're going to go to another quarterback. He went 0 for 4, Brock. So I don't even know what you feel the hope in bringing him in, but give him a whole week, create maybe a game plan around him. Some things can maybe change, but I am just shocked, man, when you go back and look at this, of just how so many people have a hand in making this team look so bad. And then Norvell says things like, he's seeing it in practice, Corey, but it's not carrying over into games. I think one of his quotes is, I've seen these players perform at a high level before. I know they got it in them. Like, where? I mean, so many of these guys are Jaylen Brown's never done this. I'm sorry, man. Like, August practice does not count for you to say that you've seen him do this at a high level. Same thing for Malik Benson. I mean, same thing for most anybody on this offensive line, I guess, unless you really like Darius a lot. I guess Darius has been a little bit better the last few weeks, but this quarterback hasn't really done it much. And they don't look good practicing. And I hate, they should be able to make mistakes in practice and work through them without me sitting here and criticizing them as though I'm some sort of expert, because I'm not trying to pretend to be. But when he tells us, like, it's another good work day, it's like, how can you say that? You guys are false starting in practice. There's holding calls in practice. You guys, in period 3, it's your first 11 on 11, your first 3 plays of the day. This is like a 2-minute drill. There's nothing downfield. You're running out of bounds. You're throwing the ball away. That would happen maybe on one play. Jordan's first play, 11 on 11, period 3, Corey. He's scrambling to his right, scrambling. There's nothing there. He throws it away. Best believe next play, 20-yard strike somewhere down the field. And I'm not trying to compare him to Jordan, but like, we saw the way a good team looked, the way a good team practiced. We saw the way they looked. They don't look anything remotely like good in practice. So to hear him continually say that we're seeing it, we're close. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting him to say we're terrible, we're hopeless, but there's got to be some sort of message about accountability, and we're going to start putting in guys to see where they're at to help us get better, because what you're rolling with right now is not any better. And I guess maybe we saw glimpses of it when he threw like Amari Williams out there right after the Morlock interception in the second half. So maybe that's part of the solution. Maybe Brock's part of the solution, because whatever they judge that this team was going to be the best 11 to be on offense, and it really isn't, because they keep cycling guys on the offensive line for whatever reason. It's not, man. They cannot be part of anything that involves you getting better, I think, this season and moving forward. So it is time to give guys like Andre Otto opportunity, give Landon Thomas, I know he dropped one ball, give him more opportunity. Maybe don't give Cam Davis opportunity. Maybe put everything on Lawrence O'Feely's shoulders until he has to really come out the game. Because he keeps doing things also, where, Corey, that he's almost still coaching the team like it's 2023 still. Like using timeouts at the end of the half, like he's going to get the ball back and go down the field in 55 seconds and get a touchdown. It's like, man, just take points, get to half, and figure things out from there. It's every level of this, whether it's game management, game decision, roster management, it's dejectful, if that's even a word. It's disconcerting.
Yeah. I won't go into the game management. Clearly, I mean, if he doesn't take the timeouts, they might not get the 2 points they got, Aslan. They went into halftime on a 2-0 run. The game management was fine. So the game management was fine. I think you should know your team better right there, and you've had the ball that long. You get down inside the 5. I know the book probably tells you to go for it, and I know it's easy for me to say, we'll call a better play, but I said it beforehand. Like, I tweeted it beforehand, like, take the points. It wasn't a half inch. You didn't need a half inch. You needed 3 yards. When have you seen your offense in a tight formation, in a tight space, get 3 yards easily? So, but even still, I can certainly understand going for it in that spot, because the possibility of getting the ball back, like they were about to get the ball back, is exactly right. Like, okay, even if they stop us, the thought being, okay, we have timeouts. We have 2 timeouts. They're going to run it 3 times to make us burn our 2 timeouts and then run clock. So we should get the ball back around midfield with 40 seconds left, and we've got a kicker. So we've got a kicker. So we've got a field goal kind of in the bag already. So go ahead and go for it. I completely understand that. I would have liked the offense to feel good about itself and get the field goal, but I understand the risk there. You're trying to tie the game. It's worth it. It was a unbelievable play call. It was as if he thought he was coaching Lamar Jackson. And even then, Lamar doesn't get in because it's blocked so poorly. But nobody running I guess is the equivalent of a 7.9 40 is going to score from 3 yards out in a college football game. It looked as if it was almost a trick play. He was running so slow. This is not the kid that is going to will himself into the end zone. I think we know that now. He is not going to will you to wins. He is not going to will himself to make great plays, and he is not going to will himself into the end zone. We have said it till we're both blue in the face. This is not all DJ's fault.
Nope.
He is surrounded by mediocrity. But when you're surrounded by mediocrity and you put in a mediocre quarterback, what ensues is 15 points per game. And a statuesque mediocre quarterback at that. So, no, it's not DJ's fault. What on earth are we to gain from watching him going out and getting his head beat in by Clemson? The kid already looks like he's playing with the weight of the universe on his shoulders. What is he going to look like on Saturday night playing his former team in the quarterback that replaced him? He might crater into midfield. It is putting him in an awful situation, an untenable situation. Sure, it is for Brock too, but you already made that bed, man. DJ's unsalvageable at this point, and you think he's going to turn it around and actually have a great game and make these kind of plays you've been hoping he could make and reads you want him to make against Clemson? Not only if he didn't have any history with that school, that's the best defense he's going to see all season. So good luck, man. Then again, you throw Brock Glenn to the Wolves, just like you did. Well, he's used to it, right?
That's what he does, man.
He played the Orange Bowl. He played against. So yeah, he's used to Wolves. But I don't need to see DJ play again. There's just no point for it. And on that topic, I thought he probably threw the ball the best he's thrown all season. He made some really good throws on time. The RPO stuff in the middle of the field, like the one to Jaylen Brown, the one to Ja'Kai, the touchdown to Portier. He made an incredible throw to Hakeem on the sidelines on the first drive of the game. Made a couple of really nice. Amari Williams, make a catch. Jaylen Brown, go make another catch. There was somebody else that dropped one. I'm not.
Landon Thomas dropped the Brock Glenn throw, but Morlock obviously the first throw the second half.
There was another one I thought DJ put one on that was a really good throw that a good receiver makes, and it wasn't made. I can't remember who it was. But I thought he played throwing the ball about as well as he could play. That said, again, there are 8 or 10 throws a game where you're like, man, what do you have against cheerleaders? Why do you continually throw it at their backsides? There are plays he threw a couple balls in the end zone. There was a lob to Benson. And it's give yourself a chance, man. Yeah. I know you're not throwing it up to Johnny or Keon, but Malik might be able to go make a play. He made almost a really nice catch on the sideline, almost, which is par for the course. But he throws a fade because it's man-to-man coverage, and he throws it almost into the camera well. Yeah. And it's it seems like when anything's in doubt, he's going to throw it out of bounds as to not have the ball intercepted. But then he keeps throwing interceptions anyway. So what's the point? 3rd and 2. It's a great play by the SMU DB, but you need 2 yards. You're throwing a 21-yard out on your back foot with no real. I mean, the pressure wasn't in his face. I think it was a bad snap though. That didn't help. It's late. If he throws it as soon as Jalen's making his break, that's a first, or at least Jaylen Brown is open. I can't tell you if he's going to catch it or not, but that should be a first down. If he breaks the tackle, it's a touchdown. But it's late. It's behind him. It's not thrown with the zip it needs to be thrown. So anyway, all of this being said, it doesn't matter. What are you doing? What are you doing, Mike? You can't keep doing this. I don't care if you go to the wishbone with Cam Davis, Mekhi Danzy, Toa Feely, and Deuce Spann. I don't care. You can't keep running into the wall with your forehead leading the way over and over and over again. So that's why I'm saying, I'm just done with the DJ. I'm just done with DJ. There's no point in it anymore. Yeah, you can, I guess, if you want to be a jerk about it and you have paid him money, say, yeah, man, we're going to go to Brock after the Clemson game. So good luck. Good luck. This is your time to shine. And when Florida State is 1-5 and they're coming off a 9-point effort against Clemson, then you'll make the change. But either way, it's untenable with DJ. He's just not good enough when you surround him with mediocrity. And the mediocrity is not just the players, man. That coaching staff is I don't even think mediocre describes the job they've done this year. It can't. They're not mediocre. You would kill for mediocrity. They are awful, which is a far cry from mediocre. If they could get some mediocre, if they had a mediocre offense, they'd be 3-2, Aslan.
Yeah.
But they have the atrocious offense. So yeah, man, it's all of it's to blame. They all deserve blame. But you're going to go out there and run this same offense against Clemson, and they will be laughing and rubbing their bellies as they beat you by 30 points. And DJ is just hung out to dry because you didn't surround him with the talent necessary for a quarterback like DJ to thrive or at least survive. So it's look, man, the special teams was not great. Defense was not great. It all goes back to the offense. You're below average on defense, maybe. I think you're probably average-ish. And I think you're average in special teams, maybe a little more because of the two kickers, but nothing special, certainly in those two phases. But it doesn't matter because even if you're just average in those two, you're so awful in offense that you have no chance against even halfway decent teams. So it's very depressing, honestly. It's very depressing. But the one thing that gives me hope, Aslan, the one thing that I can go to sleep at night is
Vitamin Energy Mood Plus.
You can flip it. Well, that too, but you can flip it, and it's going to be interesting what they do. It's going to be like if you go 1-11 or 2-10, probably 2-10, and
I'm still on 4-8. I'm 4-8. Come on, man. They'll beat one of Duke, North Carolina, and then they got Charleston Southern. That's 3 then.
Oh, that's 3. Yeah. Maybe Florida. That's going to be a heavyweight fight for the ages. So you've got to make changes. And there are a lot of players out there. There are a lot of good players out there. It's just got to be a come to Jesus offseason. Because this isn't just a blip.
But who's going to make him come to who's going to make him come to the Lord and Savior? He's the one that
hopefully his competitive spirit, right?
I think the competitive spirit is what's keeping us in this rut right now, Corey. I feel like, again, I think he's aggressively coaching this team, to your point about, like, man, just go to wishbone instead of, like, running your head into the wall. I think so much of this is, I know this works. I've seen it work. It's worked here. This is how we're going to coach it. This is how we're going to call plays. This is the sort of scheme we're going to run, and you all are going to figure it out hell or high water. I'm not here to babysit you folks into figuring out a way to make it work so that you're feeling comfortable about it. Like, this is the way I run my program. You're all going to fit in. You're either going to sink or swim. And we're doing a lot of sinking right now, clearly. I don't really know what kind of holistic change he would want to make to himself, because I don't think he sees any errors in what he's doing in the way that he wants it to.
Can't be.
But Corey, like I mentioned, these plays, like, these guys are open. Like the Morlock interception in the second play of the second and a half, dude, he's wide open. He engages in a block and then releases late down the field. He's wide open. It's like a 20-yard gain. But man,
do you think 100% that nobody's blaming DJ for that, not blaming Norvell for that? Yeah. You know, at worst, it's going to be a 15 or 18-yard gain, and you're going to have 1st and 10 around midfield. No, sorry. At worst, it's going to be deflected in the air for an interception, and they have the ball at the 11. But if he catches the ball, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to have the ball 1st and 10 around midfield, down by 5 points, and all of a sudden feeling pretty good about things. But I'm also not convinced, even if that happens, they're going to string together 3 or 4 more plays and go score a touchdown.
Right, and then choke off SMU the rest of the game and hold them out.
Yeah, it's not happening. But also, like, part of coaching is coaching to who you are. And I said this repeatedly back when we talked about basketball. If you switch 1 through 5, like Leonard Hamilton he has to do, he will not. They're gonna set a screen. They're gonna get his big slow-footed center on a point guard, and it's gonna result in a layup or a wide open 3-point attempt. And it happens every game over and over again. And he doesn't switch it because it's worked before. Well, guess what, Leonard? You don't have Bernard James, and you don't have Scotty Barnes. or Patrick Williams. You don't have these 6'9", 6'10" freaks that can make life hard on a point guard and still get back and recover and block a shot or challenge a three. Well, guess what, Mike? Kyle Morlock is devolved, and it's your job to know that. Like there's I guess it's not. He did catch one of the passes in the first half. I think he recovered a fumble too.
He did, yeah. Toe Philly.
But it's like you're the one that keeps playing him for 60 snaps a game. You're the one that keeps trying to make it happen. And I get it because it happens in practice. But at some point, you have to coach to what your team is. And that's what good coaches do. What good coaches don't do is what we've seen through 5 weeks. And again, I'm not saying he's not. He has proven to be a good coach that can do things. But I don't think you can just say, this is my offense, figure it out. Man, this is Florida State, man. You have some ability to make some changes. You can try other stuff. Leonard, as steadfast as he is in his defense, occasionally will throw a zone at someone.
But he did, though, on Saturday, Corey. Right? I mean, they ran more RPO, like some of that more basic, simplistic high school. I mean, they did, and they had success on it, but it wasn't sustainable.
No, I'm literally of the opinion of this year, because it's so bad, and it is not getting better. You've got to cut the cord on what you're trying to do with this offense. This cannot be the offense we've seen the last 4 years.
But what are you building for this? You're gonna run like a really archaic, simplistic offense that is not going to be able to win games next year.
Yeah, I'm not really saying you're going to run the wishbone. I'm saying you're going to play Brock Glenn. You're going to play Luke Kromenhoek. You are going to simplify the offense so they don't feel overwhelmed. You're going to try to keep them out of third 30s. And guess what, Mike? And if they're 3rd and 16, you run a quarterback draw or a screen. You don't do the dumb shit you did against Cal and try to throw a 3rd and goal touchdown from the 18-yard line. You have to coach to what you're capable of doing. You have to know that your offensive line can't block that when you're trying to run really, really slow developing quarterback sneaks or really, really slow developing runs out of the shotgun. They're pretty good when you run the pistol and you just run straight ahead. They're not terrible. But the ones where DJ's standing beside the running back and he hands it to him very slowly, and Toafili is at a dead stop as he gets the ball and he's not moving forward at all, that play sucks. And it's not getting you anywhere. So why do you keep doing it? Because next year it might work with who? Guys that have never blocked for you before? So I'm at my wit's end about what exactly he's trying to accomplish by continuing to run what he's been running. The wide receiver screens are never blocked well. Correct. The screens in general aren't blocked well. And when they are, your tackle that's played 90 games of college football holds twice. Like Brock Glenn, maybe that gets him going. Of course, they're not going to score. They're not going to come back. But he comes in the game, hits a 25-yard, 20-something yard screen pass, seems to be blocked up well. Nice call, gets the good scheme. Well, your right tackle held for the second time. He cost you 50 yards in screen passes because he I guess I didn't see the replay either time that he's holding these guys. So yeah, man, I just know that like I'm all for them going and saying, Mike, you're our head coach. We're going to go get. I don't know, man. I don't know who the 8th best offense in the country is. Whoever has the best Sun Belt offense, and we're going to go make them our offensive. Whoever that offensive coordinator is, we're going to go make him our offensive coordinator. Is what I would be doing if I'm Florida State. That's how bad this is. Like, I think didn't they say that SMU's OC really does call the plays? I know it's Rhett Lashley's offense.
Right.
But it's Charlie Weiss Jr., right?
No, that's Ole Miss.
I think that's what they said. That's Ole Miss, right? Who is the SMU? Maybe Lashley's calling all the plays.
I don't think so, man, because he doesn't have a sheet or anything on him, but then again, neither does Mike. Let me go here to their website real quick and look this up, though. We're going to talk about Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in a second, but we're going to try to find out who the OC for the Mighty Mustangs is. Not having a lot of success on this. We wish just go right to the coaches when you hit the coach's name, but you got to go to roster these days. And I don't want to buy season tickets. I don't like you people. It is going to be, get out of my face with this. He's got a co-offensive coordinator, Rob Likens, who I think was at Arizona State with Herm, if I'm not mistaken, and Casey Woods. So he's got like 2 coordinators. I don't know which one calls plays, though. So not a lot of...
Yeah, and I don't either, and I don't even know if they call plays or it's Lashley's offense and they're just OCs by name. I'm saying you could go do your due diligence, hire one of those search firms, man, get them their couple $100,000 to go give you 6 names, but go get 6 young, up-and-coming offensive core. I don't even care if they're young. I don't care if they're up-and-coming. Anybody that averaged more than 15 points per game in 2024 is on the table. And let them bring in whatever they want. That's how bad this is. And again, it's not as if I was in love with what I saw at the end of last year, even when Jordan was the quarterback. I was in love with the winning. I was in love with the toughness that had been instilled in that, in the response and all that stuff that seemed to define this program up until this year. But the offense wasn't exactly playing lights out last year at the end of the year. And then this year it's carried over into madness. And I think it should be. I think Norvell needs to look long and hard. He won't, but giving the offense up. Not just letting somebody else call the plays, but either bringing in a whole new offense or bringing in a new offensive line coach.
Well, what is he getting paid $10 million for? He's not an elite recruiter, and he's not going to call plays? Then what are we doing? I mean, because he's everyone's wife thinks he's hot?
To do.
I mean, what's going on?
There's other things to do besides just calling plays.
I know.
He certainly, if he's just getting paid to be a play caller, he should be giving them. He's stealing money.
Well,
he's stealing money this year. This is what would they average, Aslan, if you and I were the co-OCs? and we practiced at 4 p.m. and we only practiced for 45 or 50 minutes.
No special teams either, everybody. We're going to focus on
no special teams
ball.
at all. Hey, Fitzgerald, just kick it out of the end zone.
Yeah.
Mastromanno, do your thing. Pin him at the 6. And Deuce, just everything's a touchback.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would they be averaging?
17.3. I got faith in us, man.
I think so too. I think we would let all the best athletes touch the ball.
Yeah.
A lot more than they get to touch the ball. I would legitimately, and this is not a joke, folks, I promise, if Deuce Spann had taken every snap at quarterback this year, they would be averaging at least as many points and probably a few more.
Quarterback and Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com. Meet and greet 5 o'clock. Corey, you going to be in a better mood by Friday?
No,
Promise?
Probably not. Probably not.
Well, Jeff Cameron will be there. He'll be in bright spirits. Check it out every single day. Lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Monday. Half-pound black Angus beef burger. Usually $13.49, but man, it's $8.99 with a side dish of your choice from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. Tomorrow, trivia going down at 7 p.m. Bingo, 7 p.m. on Thursdays. And then again, that meet and greet over at the CP on Friday. cptallybar.com is the website. 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. One other thing I want to point out, Corey, just, to go back to that goal line series they had, which, man, this is like what the Memphis game, they had that gross goal-to-go situation where they weren't able to really convert. But that last play they run during practice when they do their 11-on-11 outside, last play before they do the snack break, where they do like a red zone play. It's like a goal line play. It's usually on the 2-yard line, 3-yard line, sometimes on the 5-yard line. Man, going back to Tuesday's practice, I've got like Justin Cryer making a tackle on a receiver so they don't get into the end zone. On Wednesday of Cal Week, PBU by Fentrell Cypress. Memphis on Wednesday, incompletion that goes off the fingers of a receiver. So that goes back to I see us playing at a high level, and I just wonder where Mike's head is at. And it's more of a rhetorical thing, but I just want to add that to my sort of rant, if you will, about just us being at practice, them practicing situations and not being able to formulate success, and then we see it manifest itself on Saturday. And then to hear him say that, I know they can play at a better high level, and it's like, I don't know exactly what. And then earlier in the podcore, we talked about, you feel like some of these players would be able to find some playing time over on the SMU side of things. And I don't know if I totally disagree with that, but enough to bring it back up 35 minutes later. And just that tight end, the RJ Maryland kid, is better than any receiver that Florida State has, tight end or wide receiver, and I don't want to downgrade Ja'Kai too much. That Jordan Hudson kid is a player. He was like a 5-star. He went to TCU, transferred over there. Brashard Smith didn't do anything at Miami, yet somehow goes to SMU, and that kid ran like a stallion and got knocked out of the game and came back later on in there. That offensive line seemed to be much more physical. I'm not even looking at PFF grades. I think I would probably take every single one of their pieces up front on the offensive line ahead of Florida State. And then obviously I'd take the quarterback. And
Yeah.
I don't want to give, I'm not trying to give like Mike a pass on this, because this is a hand-picked roster that's assumingly well paid as well. So like every part of this operation is failed so miserably that I know you can flip it, Corey. I don't know if like he just needs like some time off, like the retreat or something after the season. I don't know, like let Derek Ray handle the portal or something. Get away for a month. Go to Punta Cana with the wife, see some blue water or something, then come back with your head refreshed, because there has to be some level of like, I don't know, clutter in his head for this to all be where it's at, every single person involved in the operation of things. It can't be we missed on 3 players or we can't run the ball as much as we like to think. This is like a systemic problem that Mike is in some sort of funk, and it's bringing like everybody down, because he's the guy they all look up to. I mean, Adam Fuller talked about the other week about, we responded the way we did in the Cal game because it starts at the top and he's the best guy in the business. And it's like, man, he has not looked like anywhere near the best guy in the business the last 5 games. So talent, I don't think there's a significant talent gap, and it's going to be laid bare even more so against Clemson.
I think what I was going at though is that 2, 3, 4 years ago, if SMU, like before the season, SMU would have traded in June. SMU would have traded their rosters for yours in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. They're like, oh, we get to coach this? We get to coach these guys? Yeah, okay. All right, maybe not DJ, because Lashley might be smart enough to know don't bring him in. But other than that, offensively, defensively, come on, man. Like, I get it. They have a tight end that's better than anybody you got. That's going to happen. But collectively, it's not close. Meaning, the development is my issue. It's not saying they have but like right now, you're like, oh, yeah, I would take all these guys over SMU's front 4 or offensive line. No, SMU's offensive line is clearly better. They've been coached better. It's not like they had better clay to mold in Dallas than Alex Atkins and Norvell did in Tallahassee. They've done a much better job of molding it to what their offense is trying to do. This is just a nonsense slop fest in Tallahassee with the offensive line in general. They don't move anybody really. Running backs aren't anything special. Toafili has some nice plays. Everybody else completely pedestrian from what we've seen. Keziah can't even get into games.
He doesn't even know how to fair catch properly. He lucked out. That fair catch should have been flagged probably.
That's another thing I want to get to in a second. But, Cam Davis keeps getting you your 3 yards, which is blocked up just to get 3 yards, not breaking any tackles. Darian Williamson broke a tackle. I think Ja'Kai might have broken a tackle or at least made some guys miss.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it. So, but I don't think you would have handpicked any of those guys on SMU's roster, including their running back, and saying, yeah, he's absolutely better than these Florida State guys. For whatever reason, these guys are developing more. They play with more confidence. They play faster, and they play more physical, which is just crazy. It's just crazy in year 5 that you look like you did in 2018. And that's what I wrote. That's what my column was about. Was like, man, that was a Willie Taggart loss. That loss felt like it belonged right smack dab in the middle of the Willie Taggart era. You had no answers. You had no fight. You had no physicality. And the offense looked like it belonged in Region 7-5A in Georgia. It was not a college offense.
Who's the powerhouse in that region? Do we know?
I'm not sure. I was thinking of Buford, but I don't know. And I wrote this in the column. I'm not convinced right now that if Leon High School lined up against Florida State, I'm pretty sure Florida State would average 3.6 yards a carry against Leon High School. Shout out to the Lions, by the way. Bryce Cameron, starting wide receiver for those guys.
Let's go.
Don't know how they did on Saturday. I'm going to assume they lost to Lincoln, but that's an assumption. I don't know if that happened. But that's what, like, Florida State doesn't manhandle anyone. Anyone. And at Florida State, that's inexplicable. I look around the country, man. There are offensive lines that occasionally are just gouging people. Florida State never does it. Hasn't done it in 2 years. So yeah, man, I'm really dismayed about not just that they're losing games, it's how they look and how bad this offense is. And are there going to be changes made? Is it too reactionary? But either way, to say there are going to be wholesale changes after one bad year, the counter to that is when it's this bad, there better be wholesale changes. But is that really an avenue to success? I don't know. It's all stuff we can start talking about. Well, now really, but especially as we get closer to November and coach firing season and portal hiring season. But then, yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. They're not well coached.
It's the same guys, man. It's the same staff, top to bottom.
No, I know.
Side.
That's what I'm saying. But how in the world is after you get a safety, there's 37 seconds left? I don't know. They're punting from their 20. How in the world are you fair catching that?
As the running back. It'd be one thing if it was like an up back, but you're a running back. You don't get the ball that much, Keziah. This is your time to shine, buddy. Be a peacock. Time to fly.
So what I'm thinking is they've told him in the past, because that's where he is on normal kickoffs. And on a normal kickoff, if they pooch it to you at the 9, we'd rather take the ball at the 25, Keziah, don't worry about it. Those are hard to block up. We either want Deuce returning it or nobody returning it. I'm sure that's an edict of theirs. But they didn't feel the need on a safety kick to tell him, hey, in this instance, if they pooch the ball to you, take off. We need all the extra yards we can get. If you're catching it at the 20-something yard line, you are going to be able to run 15 yards and dive forward. And then we're a couple of first downs away from a potential field goal. But no, there's nobody in the picture with him. And like you said, he's a running back, not an offensive lineman. And he caught that one. Why would he not run forward? That's just bad coaching, man. It's just bad coaching. It's just dumb coaching. Like, it's just bad coaching. That's not paying attention to the details, which is exactly what this staff is supposed to do. But everything is magnified when it's this bad, when you're bad, right? Bad football teams, you have a magnifying glass on everything, and it seems like everything sucks.
Because it does. And that's the thing.
On Saturday night, everything sucked.
Yeah.
Everything sucked on Saturday night. But the point being, if you had a quarterback that was competent, an offense that was competent with a special quarterback, which is apparently what they need. They need special. They don't need pretty good or average or decent. They need effing special.
Doesn't everybody now?
If you have a special quarterback, he masks a lot of warts. Like he masks a lot of deficiencies.
Like A.J. McCarron's the last of the bunch, I guess. Feels like, right? That wasn't like necessarily a dynamic game busting open. He was more of a game manager, it feels like, right? Because after that, we go like what from Jameis?
That was Maxwell award winning. A.J. McCarron, by the way.
Well, because we go from
just throwing that out there.
We go from Jameis. Well, Jacob Coker came after Jameis, so maybe like Jacob Coker was the line in the sand. Because after that, it's Deshaun Watson, it's Trevor Lawrence, it's Tua Tagovailoa, it's Joe Burrow. It's, I guess JJ McCarthy, a lot of people don't have respect for, but I mean, that kid, he could do some stuff with those legs. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing with like Milroe and what Texas is doing now with Arch Manning. And, I know Carson Beck had a really rough first half, but man, like you still need something special at quarterback, and they don't. I mean, I don't think Kromenhoek's, he might be special, but like Kate Klubnik still needed almost 3 years almost to get where he was at. We're looking at Jalen Milroe. It's like year 3, and now that guy's kind of unlocked. Yeah. But at the same time, it's game 5 with a new staff. They've somehow unlocked that out of him. They've made him to an actual competent passer. Like he's a real legitimate quarterback now. 5 games. So there has to be some kind of path forward with one of these guys, whether it's Brock or Luke, that gives you some kind of hope for next year. Because otherwise, I mean, yeah, you're back in the portal getting a quarterback. And I don't know, maybe that Jackson Arnold kid from Oklahoma leaves, and he was really highly touted. And maybe you guys hit it off and have really good chemistry together. But man, the portal has been friendly to Florida State, but you go Mackenzie Milton and DJ at quarterback, like it has not been great at that position. So it's I'm going to need some more belief out of that situation for Florida State to flip and get things better.
Yeah, yes, correct. The point was if they don't have a special quarterback, it seems pretty clear that they're going to be a bad offense. So they need to go find one desperately. Like, I would save the money it takes to fire Alex Atkins.
I mean,
well,
Cam
man,
Ward.
There are guys all over the place that can make plays. All over the place. I watched the kid from Arizona make plays. You're telling me he wouldn't come to Florida State? Like, there are guys that literally any school in the country is better at quarterback right now than you. You're 0 for 5 in the quarterback battle this year, and you're about to be 0 for 6. And you still got Cam Ward waiting for you. Maybe when you play Duke or North Carolina because they're on their third stringer, you'll have a quarterback advantage. But it's not just – it's a complete disadvantage. And the point being, I don't think he clearly isn't a good enough offensive mind at this level to develop an offense and to scheme up an offense that can withstand average quarterback play. Average quarterback play means a below-average offense, which means a lot of losses. We've seen it now for 4 or 5 years.
Hey, pull it off against
when
Florida and
Travis
Louisville, though.
Playing,
What about Florida and Louisville last year?
I mean, they got like 170 yards in one game and 198 in the other. Yeah, they had a really awesome defense, but his offense sucked.
Yeah,
both games.
Fair. Sorry.
With a bunch of he had
with
two
a bunch of NFL
second-round
guys.
picks. Yeah. So no, his offense with Jordan Travis not playing in it has been awful, like beyond awful. 2-14 or 3-14, whatever the record is, and the points per game are laughable. So yeah, that is the goal. The goal. We can talk about culture. We can talk about the offensive line. It's gross. We can talk about the receivers, not good, clearly not good enough. Running backs too, in my mind right now. We can talk about all that, all the other pieces, and the game planning, and the scheming, and the offense as a whole. But if he can go get a very good quarterback, a real quarterback, it can turn around quickly enough that you're winning games next year. A lot of them. And the beauty and the madness of college football is that's not out of the realm. You won't be able to go get Arch Manning, but you could go get, somebody at a smaller school that threw for 40 touchdowns. Because it's like with DJ, nobody ever won because of DJ, right?
Right.
Like, I feel like we made this point in the offseason or when the whole Cam Ward sweepstakes were going on. We wanted Cam Ward more than we wanted DJ. And when they got DJ, you kind of talked yourself into it. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's not terrible. He's not going to lose you games. I know I said that 1,000 times. Well, I was wrong there. But, you thought he was you knew he wasn't a program saver, a season saver. He was just supposed to be pretty good. Well, skip all that nonsense. You don't need to go into next year with just pretty good. You need to figure out if you have the potential to be great. You knew DJ's ceiling was not very high. We all knew that. We had seen it. The data points were all there. With Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek, we have no idea what their data points are. But I know this, or what their ceilings are. You can't go into next season shrugging your shoulders at quarterback saying, well, let's see what this looks like. You need to know, man. You need to know. And so, yes, as I said at the top of the show, if you want DJ to wear it against Clemson because you don't want to break the spirit of the young guys against the best defense they'll see, that's fine. But after that, it maybe not even maybe let DJ play at Miami too so he can wear that loss. But Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek need to be playing against Duke. They need to be playing against North Carolina. They need to be playing against Florida. And they definitely need to be playing against Charleston Southern. And I think I left out a game there. I can't remember who else is on the schedule. But that you've got to get them real time.
Gators.
To see if there's something to build upon. So we'll see. But it's, the most maddening thing of all, Aslan, is I remember thinking before the Dublin game, and it was the Friday. I'd gotten over my hangover from the all the pain meds I took to take that flight.
Pharmaceuticals.
The pharmaceuticals, yeah, they weren't pain meds, but
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals for that flight. I was thinking clear, maybe not crystal clearly, but clear enough. And I remember thinking, like, man, I don't know what this team is. I think they're good, but I have no way of knowing. But you know what? I'll take my chances with Mike Norvell on one sideline and Brent Key on the other.
Right.
That seems to be a mismatch.
Yep.
And
it was not.
It was not, and none of these others have been. The mismatch the last time Florida State played Georgia Tech, which I think was before Brent Key, but still, the last time they played Georgia Tech.
No, they did. Brent Key was interim coach. They fired.
Okay.
Collins that year. Yeah.
The mismatch was at quarterback, not at head coach.
Yeah.
That's been depressing to realize. But we all learn. We all learn things, and he's certainly, I think, learning a lot about himself and his evaluation abilities, or more important, the people around him's evaluation abilities, developmental abilities, coaching abilities, recruiting abilities, all that. And he's learned a lot, and he's going to hopefully make the corrections necessary to make this program not a laughingstock in 2025.
Boy, I hope. I'm not overly optimistic. I mean, I get it. If there's a talented quarterback, he can go get him. But I just don't know if it's gonna click off the bat. And again, I don't know just how much of it really was Jordan. I mean, just Jordan being in the system for like 3 years and knowing the ins and outs. Like, maybe it's not so much you need this wildly dynamic, wildly skilled quarterback, because like the things that made Jordan awesome, or not, I shouldn't say awesome, but the things that like caught everybody's attention were things he no longer did last year. Like, he didn't do the 60-yard, backyard football plays like that. That wasn't part of what made him great last year. Part of what made him great last year was seemingly knowing the right play every single time, and the guys around him either playing at a high level because of the amount of confidence they had in him, maybe because he put them in good positions, so there was a level of trust there that made them play harder. But there's something about that kid, and golly, for as much as we get dunked on for hyping this team up, et cetera, listen, man, there's a lot. I don't want to get like a pissing contest about it, but there's so many people like, why can't we be a better offense this year without Jordan? Like, what? Why? I mean, like, they weren't that great the last second half with Jordan. I mean, why can't, with a bigger arm and all this speed out, why can't this be a better offense? And it's like, well, because, when you start hyping up and beating your chest about GPS numbers, that's just, that's not football, man. That's athleticism, that's combine stuff, but that's not football. That's not lining up, knowing your assignment, holding on a block, getting your assignment. I mean, again, some of these plays, again, that I pointed out that are relatively inconsequential. It's 2 plays in the course of a game that had, how many plays did Florida say? That's 60. And I guarantee if you go and look at all 60 plays, there's probably only 55 that might have been truly clean. And that's a huge problem. And
55, I think there'd be like 11 that are truly clean. There's always people screwing up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant like 55 that were not clean. Like only 5 that might have been truly clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hope a quarterback can do it, but I just, all the.
Well, the point is the quarterback masks everything, right? Like he's able to mask deficiencies. That offensive line was not good last year, not blocking anyway. But Jordan Travis masked it with enough big throws, especially on third down. He was great on third down. He would make enough plays to move the chains and score points. Even if the offense wasn't humming, you knew he would do enough. That clearly isn't the case anymore. And great quarterbacks do that. Like, again, I don't want to sit here and toot the horn of the guy in Coral Gables. But, it was funny. In that game, they were down 10 on Friday night. Great game, by the way. That game and the Alabama-Georgia game were exceptional. I'm glad I got to watch them both. I hope most of y'all were watching the end of the Alabama-Georgia game and it turned off the ACC network, by the way, on Saturday night. But Cam Ward's down by, I think, 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I think he was down by 2 scores.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, man, he's never been in a situation like this. Like, it's all fun and games when you're up by 40. And it's all fun and games when you're out in Pullman and nobody really cares if you win or lose. But there's a lot riding on this quarter, man. You've been pumped up as a Heisman contender. You've already had a couple of really bad interceptions. You feel like you've let your team down. You've been sacked a few times. The pressure, the weight of this moment might be too much for this kid because he's never faced anything like it. Even though he's played a ton of football, Incarnate Word in Washington State aren't the same thing. Is it the Miami's back crowd urinating down their legs thinking they're about to lose to a mediocre Virginia Tech team on national television? And it was right there. Like, Virginia Tech was outplaying them.
34-24 was the score.
So they were down 10.
Yeah.
And so he goes and puts together two incredible drives. One is saved. It wasn't a bad throw. Restrepo slips on fourth down and still catches the ball. Just a hands catch while he's on his back. Imagine a Florida State kid doing that. And then the play of the game, obviously, is he's getting sacked and he shovels it
like a chest
to
pass
the tight end that's back there to block a little. Yeah, it was like a two-handed bounce, like a 1940s NBA bounce pass, like just straight, like fundamentally sound chest pass to his tight end. That most people aren't making that play. That is a playmaker making a play. That's special. That's something that Miami hasn't had in a long, long time.
It was kind of when
people believe.
It was kind of when Jameis got draped by that guy against Nevada in like 2013, where you're like, oh, whoa, he got out of that, and then he throws a touchdown. You're like, oh, this kid's something.
When we knew for sure that the Florida State team was different in 2013 than other Jimbo teams was the throw at the end of the half against Boston College.
Yes,
where he shrugs off one guy, wears a hit, and throws his 60 yards into man-to-man coverage, and Kenny Shaw makes that play. That's when you knew, oh man, this is unlike anything we've ever seen here with this coach. This is unbelievable. Yeah. And that's what a quarterback can do. It lifts up the entire team, a special one. I don't know if there's going to be a Cam Ward out there. I don't know. I don't know if there's certainly not going to be a Jameis probably. There's not going to be a number one overall pick that's ripe for the pickings in the portal. But you've got to figure out if one of these two guys, and you're not expecting them to be great, even by Florida. You don't expect them to be great or even good. But is there enough in there? Try to see if there's anything in there that where you can be confident that they're going to be the guy in 2025 with some more development and, obviously some more experience. They're going to have some more growing pains in 2025 if they're your quarterback, but you've got to figure it out. Throwing DJ out there anymore other than to wear one against Clemson is completely and utterly pointless. Completely and utterly pointless. I wanted to say one other thing, Aslan, about the defense, because we haven't said enough.
Oh yeah,
I haven't said enough bad things about the defense.
We'll talk about the defense, and we got to get to the over-unders. But first, football's in full swing, and fall is right around the corner, if not already at our door. Have we hit fall equinox? I don't know. I'm not sure. But fuel up for both with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet all of your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals. They are dietitian approved and they're ready to eat in just 2 minutes, everybody. So no matter how busy you are, and we're all busy, I get it. Well, y'all are busy. Y'all have kids and wives and stuff. I don't have either. You're always going to have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals with Factor. So make today the day you start it off and you change it all up with a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? Make every day delicious by treating yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and even blackened salmon. Head to factormeals.com/wakeup50. Use the code WAKEUP50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That code is WAKEUP50 at factormeals.com/wakeup50. Again, 50% off the first box, 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Defense. Floor is yours, Corey Clark.
The third down defense is an abomination. I think Florida State, is like 125th or something in third down defense. It's crazy. I think UCLA is the only Power 4 defense that's worse. UCLA's having a rough year, gang.
I know.
UCLA and Florida State are neck and neck for the worst teams in the Power 5. But I think UCLA is the only defense that has a worse third down conversion defense than Florida State. They just cannot get off the field early in a game, ever. And then you tell me, Aslan, I think Azareye'h Thomas is an NFL cornerback, right? I think he's going to play in the league, maybe for a decade. I think he's going to be an early round pick. It's 3rd and 4 Why is he able to complete such an easy 6-yard pass right in front of your all ACC caliber cornerback?
Oh, that's when they went like 5 wide. I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel weird criticizing defenses because I would not want to be defensive coordinator, but I get it. Yeah, it was like I think they went 5 wide and it was just an easy pitch and catch.
It's a layup throw.
Yeah.
You gave him a layup throw for an easy I mean, Azaria was barely in the picture. Like, let him run by you, man. Let him see if he can run by you. Don't give him an easy 7 yards on 3rd and 4. That's just nonsense defense. And then worse, Finchell Cypress, who did not have a good game, couldn't get off a block, just refuse to get off a block. They have 3rd and 7, I think maybe it's late in the first half. It's early in the second half. I don't know. Maybe late in the second quarter. They have a 3rd and 7. Quarterback takes the snap, drops back, looks to his right, steps, throws, 8-yard catch. Finchell Cypress barely in the picture. Just ran a simple stop. Ran by the first down marker, turned around, and your all ACC quote-unquote caliber cornerback is just going to let him get that easy a completion. Like, what is the point? What is the point of that? Why would you be playing such soft man-to-man coverage when you pride yourself on your man-to-man coverage? I'm talking about both those guys. I'm talking about the defense as a whole. Why are you playing so soft on 3rd down? Yeah, there are going to be some busts, and sometimes quarterbacks are going to make plays. And receivers are going to break tackles. You just gave them 2 late first downs. Meanwhile, your offense, it's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube for them to pick up a 3rd down. But a Rubik's Cube where all the colors are the same or something. It's just an impossibility for that outfit. But for other offenses that you play against, they pick up 3rd downs, no problem. Cal is the only one that struggled. They were 5 of 15. They were good on 3rd downs against Cal. But other than that, they've been awful all year, and it just really infuriated me that when you know your offense can't play well, when you know you can't get off the field much, why are the strength of your team is supposedly your DBs and your cornerbacks, one of the strengths anyway, why would you be playing so soft? And it wasn't like he ran a double move and had 9 seconds to throw. He literally just took the snap, looked through, and you were nowhere in the picture. So that bothered me a lot.
Florida State 123rd in the nation in 3rd down defense, as Corey mentioned. UCLA, the worst in the country, the worst in Power 4. Offensively, 3rd down conversion, 116th in the country, Florida State's offense. And it's crazy because that's a huge cash down. It's a huge thing they do at practice. Everybody's yelling it. Everybody's putting their hands in the air, rubbing their forefinger and thumb together.
They're doing it ironically now, I think, on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like, rub your fingers together. It's cash. All right, they're rolling their eyes. Like, go ahead and let them get it, guys. And then on defense, they're like, Alex, get ready to punt. It's cash down. That means Master Mono, get your leg warm.
Yeah. I guess hard to rank it, but with you kind of, I guess, going straight to the softer coverages that affected them, was that more of a concern for you for the defense, or was it the rushing attack of SMU? I mean, it wasn't too robust. It was 4.2 yards per carry, but
I wasn't that upset with the rushing attack. SMU had the ball a lot. Obviously, the Florida State offense is bad. Once they scored off the Morlock pick, and then especially after the face mask on the punt. By the way, I know if you guys weren't watching the game, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm almost positive that they called the penalty on number 29, and the ACC network tried to show a replay of it, but they didn't get it right. If you watch the first replay they showed, you see Justin Cryer in there doing nothing. Like, he's not blocking. Not like he's not trying. Yeah. Like, he's not doing anything illegal. But if you look past him on the other side of the field, Darian Williamson is grabbing a face mask and yanking it, is what I saw. And I think he was yanking number 29's face mask. Well, the referee made a mistake and said the penalty was on 29, which I think for that game was Duke Cooper. And Duke Cooper was on the field for that. So the ACC network even went back and tried to show his penalty, but I don't think that was the penalty. I think the penalty should have been called on Darian Williamson, and I think it was legitimate. It was horrible. It probably didn't cost you the game because you weren't going to go 80 yards even if that didn't happen, but it certainly cost you momentum because you had just scored and then immediately got a 3 and out and you had a chance to put some real game pressure on them, and then nope, why do that?
All right, over-unders. Good job on the total points, I guess, 20.5 at the under on that one.
Yep.
I wanted to go with something big. Remember, I wanted to go like 60-something yards on longest completed pass, but you wanted 41.5. It was indeed
50?
over. Yeah, 50. Yeah, from Ja'Kai. Actually, I can pull all these things up to you for some reason. I want to show me.
On that play, I thought Ja'Kai could have housed it if he'd have just kept running the way he was running. I mean, he knows better than me, but I thought he was faster than that kid that was chasing him, and then he cut back against the grain. I thought he might have been able to score if he just raced to the corner. But still, Ja'Kai's out there making plays.
Yeah. But he only had 3 targets. So 85% of the folks that submitted over-unders picked the over on the total points scored. 55 went over on the longest completed pass. Okay. Florida State defense tackles for loss, 7.5. It was actually 6. The betting public was right. 55 took the under. Alex Mastromano longest punt, 54.5. 60% of the people took the over on that. Mastromano's longest punt was 54. Good number, Corey. Really good number.
He actually had a 67-yarder.
He did.
But it was called back.
He did. Receptions by a Florida State tight end not named Kyle Morlock, 1/2. 62% of the betting public said over. They were right. Landon Thomas, welcome to college football. First career catch, first career touchdown catch. SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings, rushing yards, 54.5. The betting public, 58% took the under. Good pick,
Smart.
Everybody. Yeah, he only ran for 12 yards. And then DJ,
he wasn't even a factor with his mobility.
Yeah, I think he had one first down where he ran. And I don't know how much of his presence helped their overall run game. I mean, they just had huge lanes open for him. So or for Brashad Smith, rather. So I don't really think that was a lot of Kevin Jennings' presence. So, we'll talk to Adam and Alex Atkins and Papuchis and Norvell later today. Don't know what kind of answer we're going to get out of them. I know everybody wants us to, pull out the, Law and Order playbook, but I don't know, man. Do you have any good questions you want me to ask, Corey? Any ones you're thinking of? Because I don't know, man. I literally spent my drive back from Jacksonville. I'm like, I need to think of some good questions that I can ask to get some answers for the people. But I just, Mike's not going to give you what you want, everybody. And that's the thing too. I saw Doug Peterson kind of got you woven into put into a corner, and he's just like, yeah, man, I'll take it under consideration. Thanks. That's the thing. No matter what, even if you try to make a good point and you're questioning of a coach, they still there's no reason for them to give you whatever you're going for, or for them to kind of I was going to ask. I want to almost ask Norvell. People want us to ask you really difficult questions, but I know you're not going to answer it. So can you tell me what questions you're asking of your assistants? What are the kind of questions you guys are asking one another when you're looking at film to figure this thing out right now? Because that's what I'm puzzled about. I don't know how many more things they can try, schematically, to make this offense move any better. I mean, obviously bringing Brock, that gives you some different level of athleticism, and then maybe I think you can pivot and do some other things off of that, but not enough to, hang with Clemson or Miami at this point. But
no,
that's where we're at. I can't believe we're here, Corey. Makes no sense. None.
It doesn't. I'm having a hard time imagining this has ever happened to another college football program. To go from what they were to this in this short amount of time. I mean, this is incredible. This is like I don't know, man. It's like Bitcoin stock or something. It goes through the roof and then tanks and then goes back up to it's not Bitcoin, GameStop.
Oh yeah.
It's like it goes it's sky high and then starts don't sell, and the whole whatever they were doing, and then it goes all the way down and starts going back up again. But what
about TCU though? TCU almost they played for the national title, and then last year they went 5-7. But I guess we're 5-7 feels like a distant.
Florida State ain't getting to 5-7, and their offense didn't go from national championship caliber to what in the world is this? Did they even practice? They were bad, but their defense, they all knew their defense was going to be bad because they lost so many guys off that team. Florida State, you shouldn't be going from 13-0 to 2-10. They're going to have literally a -11 or a -10 win difference in one calendar year. There is no way that's ever been done.
Yeah, so TCU.
If they go 3-9, that is so TCU was what, -8?
What's about minus
from
8?
From 2022 to 2023.
Yeah, but so
they won 8 less games.
Yeah, but so the year they went and played for the national title, they were the 27th total offense in the country, 9th scoring offense though. Last year they kind of flipped that around. They were the 11th total offense in the country, 466 yards per game, and they were 40th in the country in scoring at 31 points.
Yeah, they just couldn't stop anyone. But my what I was saying overall is TCU, I think, if we just do regular season, TCU went from 11 wins to 5 wins, I would think. Florida State's going to go from 12 wins to 3. Right. Or 2. I don't know if there's a team I don't think there's a team that's ever done that. Legitimately, I don't think there's a team that's ever had a -9 win margin from one year to the next.
What about like USF?
That seems almost an impossibility.
Let me see. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to find it like off the rip, but it's all right. It's a challenge. I'll see if I can find it.
It's something to keep an eye on as we move forward this season, as they pick up their 5th loss in a few days. 5th of what it's not stopping. I will say this: we'll talk more about the Clemson game as we get closer to it. Clearly, nobody on this show is going to expect them to win. I am really, really interested in how hard they play. I do think they'll play hard. I do think they'll feel like their manhood is challenged. I do think they feel like everybody's out to get them, and they want to show that they can still play. I just want to see some pride, man. Like, that was kind of what concerned me, even though I didn't think the defense was abysmal Saturday night. I remember they gave up really 28 points. They had a pick 6 and then another interception off Morlock's face mask that went down to the 11. But they weren't good. They weren't abysmal. But they also didn't push any. They didn't play with the physicality they did against Cal. Cal, it was obvious from the jump they were the more physical team, and they were firing to the ball. That was not the same team we saw Saturday. Maybe they don't play well on the road. Maybe they don't feel that energy on the road, that passion. I want to see what that's like Saturday night. I do have a sneaking suspicion they're going to play very hard and they're going to slam Clemson around a little bit. The problem is,
are you serious?
So I don't think Clemson. I don't think Clemson's going to just march up and down the field. I mean, they had 20 points against Stanford 40 minutes into the game. I don't think Clemson's going to march up and down the field. I think it could look a lot like, honestly, ironically, the Clemson-Georgia game.
Oh, I said Miami, Virginia.
No, the Clemson-Georgia game, where Clemson hung with Georgia. They played pretty well with Georgia, but it was so obvious in the third quarter that Clemson's offense was never going to score that the Clemson defense kind of just finally gave up and gave in. And they ended up losing by 27 points. I certainly wouldn't be surprised by that scoring margin of Florida State-Clemson, but I do think Florida State will they'll play with some pride against that. The defense, anyway. The offense, it doesn't matter. Why would they have any pride? They're awful. They're awful. But, hey, maybe Brock Glenn can run around, do some spinny doos, throw it up. Malik can make a catch. Ja'Kai will make a play. You go into halftime, only down 13-7 or something, and who knows what can happen.
I think they'll play Miami tough. I mean, I think I said it like 2 weeks ago or so. I think Clemson and Notre Dame, those are big, legitimate threats of being embarrassed, like more so than the SMU game.
They got embarrassed by SMU.
Did they, though?
Yeah, man. It was 42-16. They scored 7 points in the second half. They had their tight end do basically a pratfall. It's something off an SNL skit. Not only did he not catch it, he ran the wrong direction when the ball went in the air. It stopped as the guy that intercepted it was running the other way. They were embarrassed. That was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing thing to watch in the second half.
Yeah, it's watching.
It's just one game. It's one game, Aslan.
Just flush it. Yeah,
just flush it and move on, guys. Flush it and move on. Still a lot to play for.
Yeah, we got to go. But yeah, I was watching like the college football final show they do late night Saturday. I was watching it on Sunday morning, and they show the highlights of this game for whatever reason. They started off with Matt Berry. It's like Matt Berry, Joey Galloway, and Dan Mullen, and they start off the highlight with has Florida State hit rock bottom yet? Like they started off the highlight with that. And I'm like, okay, then maybe, yeah. I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm watching the game. I just feel like I'm so emotionally removed. Like I don't get. I wish I was like you and Gene. That like I've been watching it for 30 years and you still feel that kind of passion. Like, I'm just I look at it like it's like a job, which it's a great job. I love it. But like, I don't know, for some reason, it doesn't stick in my craw as bad. I try to get angry by watching the film again on Sunday, and it actually did make me upset. But more along the lines, like, they really are so close, but it's just so many. That's what I'm sure every bad team, like Jeff was like, Aslan, listen, every bad team says that. Every bad team can look at 10, 15 plays in a game, and they say, if that went our way, we could have won the game. But you know what? Like, bad teams, that's what they do. They have 15, 20 bad plays every single week, and it really doesn't get any better. And it's like, okay, you're right. I give up.
Well, I don't give up. Aslan. I think they're going to turn it around starting this week. What a win this would be.
16, or is it 14 and a half right now? 16 and a half, 14 and a half?
It started at 14. That's when I jumped on it. I'm just kidding, folks. I don't bet on the point spreads with the Noles. Yeah, I think it started at 14. I don't know where it'll end up, but I think it'll end up being higher than that.
Yeah, I think Dabo's going to try to make he's going to try to do something to be like, haha, I'm back.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I definitely think he's going to try to do that. I think Miami's going to try to embarrass him too. That's all coming, and we'll see what kind of fight and pride they have to make sure that isn't a thing.
What happened with the Dogs? I wasn't able to watch that game. I only had one TV in front of me, and I had to put it on the Florida State game. But like, I saw, apparently it's Ryan Williams' kid. He's 17 years old and just an absolute phenom. Been cool to have him, or maybe Jeremiah Smith, or maybe Travis Hunter. But yeah, I mean, it was like, what, 30-7? Tide was up, and then it's like, oh,
it was
boy.
It was 28-0. It was 28-0 in the second quarter.
Shit,
like, Georgia looked. I thought they were going to lose. Honestly, I was about to tweet, well, Georgia might be losing on the wrong end of a 63-3 score here. But they, I mean, literally, that's how overwhelmed they were. I think Alabama scored on their first 4 possessions. What's his name? The quarterback turned it over a couple times, a couple bad ones. But then, yeah, slowly but surely, I think Alabama started playing not to lose because they had a big lead. And Georgia just started throwing it all over the lot. They don't run the ball real well. I think their rushing attack is barely better than Florida State's this year, which is pretty bizarre. So yeah, they just slowly started getting their way back into the game, and then they hit a couple really big plays in the fourth quarter, and they took a lead for all of I think it was one play. I think they had to lead for one play, and then on the very next play, Ryan Williams did that incredible touch. See, that's a guy. Florida State needs guys like that. What would their record be, Aslan, if Florida State had Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, and Travis Hunter?
Oh my gosh. 2 and 2.
Yeah.
2 and 3.
2 and 3. They'd be 2 and 3. It wouldn't be much of a difference. Maybe they beat Memphis. Because one of those guys makes a play. But other than that, Jaylen Brown might be in the next. He might be as good as Jeremiah Smith. How would any of us know? That's a joke, by the way. I should have said LaWayne McCoy. Yeah. LaWayne McCoy might be as good as those 2 freshmen, but we would never know because he only gets on the field to catch punts.
Can I pay you to either? I don't want to sully the Heisman vote, but to really give consideration to Travis Hunter.
Oh, buddy.
I feel like you're not petty. You're not petty, but I feel like part of you might not be able to pull the trigger because
no chance. No. I'm saying there's no chance I would be petty when it comes to this. If he keeps playing like this, if I was voting on the Heisman right now after we got done recording, he would get my vote. He is doing Shohei shit. Like, this is sorry, I keep cussing. I know that's hard for you to go back and edit, but this is Shohei Ohtani stuff, man. Like, it just becomes. We don't even really talk about it anymore, that he's their best wide receiver and the best DB in the country. Like, he would be a first-round pick at either.
Yeah.
And he plays up 200 snaps a game or 160 snaps a game.
I don't know
if that can last.
Yeah, like Charles Woodson returned punts and might have played 4 reps of receiver in 3 different games. Like, Travis Hunter does not come off the field. It's incredible.
I think you could make an argument when you consider how much he plays and the high level he plays both of those positions. You could make an argument he is one of the better players in college football history. Peter Warrick was awesome. Peter Warrick didn't also play DB at a first-round level. No. Like, he's like a Peter Warrick in a I don't know, man.
And Dion.
Jalen Ramsey combined in one.
Yeah.
No, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. trust me, folks, it pains me to say that. I called him Benedict Hunter for 2 years, even though he's from my neck of the woods. But, man, it is unbelievable how good he is. And I absolutely respect that. I think it doesn't get he's getting attention. I think right now, if it was voted on now, he would be far and away the winner. What am I going to vote on? Milroe, who's, by the way, very good.
Yes.
But come on, man. Yeah. Did Travis – like, if they win 8 games and Travis Hunter plays all those – like, the record's going to matter.
Yeah.
Although maybe it even shouldn't with him. But if they go like 8-4 and Travis Hunter plays at this level and at this volume for the whole season, yeah, man, he's getting my high. I would vote for him twice if I could.
Wow.
That said, I wouldn't mind if they lost a few more games. I'll go ahead and throw that out there.
All right. Oh, burying the lead.
Good job, Gus. Great job, Gus. Really, really well done. Take advantage of it. God bless.
All right, we're done. Buried the lead. This is going to be a jam-packed day of content for you, everybody. 11:30, weekly press conference, Norvell, all coordinators. That'll start probably going up around noon on the YouTube page, so be on the lookout for that. 1 to 4 o'clock, Jeff Cameron Show. And then at 7 o'clock, special edition, all hands on deck edition of the Monday Smash. It's going to be featuring Tom Lang moderating discussions between Corey Clark, Irish O'Fell, Jeff Cameron, Gene Williams. Maybe I'll hop on there as well. Probably won't say a lot. I'll let the adults in the room talk. Really curious to hear what you guys are all going to say. It's going to be like Seminole headlines on roids, but like the good kind.
Yeah, it's going to have Tom and you and Gene.
Yeah,
I'm going to dress like it's a funeral. We should all just dress in our like we're going to a funeral. Yeah, just all black. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be. But yeah, we got some stuff to iron out. We got some stuff to hash out. We all got opinions. We all got our own shows. But we all got opinions, and we all want to try to get to the bottom of this and talk with some civility and some common sense and rationality, but also try to figure out how we can solve this.
All right. Do you want to curse one last time before we sign off?
I'll tell you when I cursed, Aslan. I saved it till the end of the show. I'm sure there's nobody left listening, but I didn't tell you. You didn't ask me how Brady did in his baseball game.
How did Brady do in his baseball game, Dad?
Yeah, it was really cool. I hadn't seen him play a game in probably 3 months. And first at bat, he crushes one so high and so far, he knows it's gone so quickly off the bat.
Hell yeah.
That he just stares it down and starts walking down the first base line.
My man, let's go.
The ball hit off the wall, and the ball hit off the wall, and he was thrown out. He was thrown out at second by 10 feet.
No.
So that's how my Sunday went after watching the debacle in Dallas.
No.
Pretty cool.
I love you, Brady. Keep it up, man. It's gonna work out, buddy. It's gonna work out. All right, we're done. Jeff Cameron, 1 to 4, taking things over. And then we'll be back live, 7 o'clock, all of us doing the thing. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.